All right, cool. What's up, everyone? My name is Pat. I want to thank you guys for coming. Welcome to the Paymaster one-on-one workshop. Um, I am a DevRel advocate here at Base, and today we are going to talk about Paymaster. More specifically, we are going to go through this agenda here. So, obviously, welcome and intros, and then I want to jump into some of the insights that I gathered from you guys who filled out the Luma. Then we're going to talk about goals and objectives. We're going to talk about some Paymaster concepts, and then we're going to go over a demo. This is primarily going to be a walkthrough of CDP and just how to quickly get started building a Gasless application. And then we'll have it open for Q&A. So without further ado, just let's jump right into the developer insight. So as you guys know, you've filled out a couple questions to get access to the workshop. One of the first questions that we asked was, have you ever created an on-chain app before? And most of you have, overwhelmingly 65% have, and 35 have said no. The other question that we asked was, how comfortable are you building a gasless on-chain app? And the responses, the options were from 1 to 5, 1 being none at all, I have no idea on how to do that. And then 5 being, hey, I've actually built gasless applications. The average response was around a 2, which is mapped to, I'm familiar with some concepts. With majority of you guys either familiar with some, most, or none at all, which is really good and helpful for me because it's the purpose of this workshop, right? The other question that I wanted to kind of gauge some interest on was, how familiar are you guys with the Coinbase Developer Platform? And most of you either don't have an account, or you're like, what is that? Like, I have no idea what that is. So that leads me into the goals for today. I want to make sure that you guys go from either no idea of what a Paymaster is to familiar with most of the concepts. I want to move you guys closer and closer to being really comfortable building on-chain apps and making those apps gasless. I want to make sure that you guys 100% know how to leverage the Coinbase Developer Platform and specifically the Paymaster tool. And so that's why I wanted to walk you guys through the platform and get you familiar there. And then I want you to know what the next step is to building your gasless application. So you're going to learn a bunch of concepts, but then it's like, man, I have all this information. Like, how do I then do the next step? What is my next step? I want to get you guys comfortable with that and get you there. So thank you. Let's jump right in. So Paymaster overview. Paymaster, or the Paymaster API that we provide, is a ERC 4337 account abstraction endpoint to send transactions from a smart wallet to sponsored gas for users. What does that mean? All right. So what we provide is a way for you to extract away gas and to make your application feel more like a Web 2 application, a traditional application. We believe that gas is a friction, and it reduces the user experience when using on-chain applications. And so you want to implement a Paymaster in order to remove this friction. Speaking of account abstraction, there's a couple concepts which I'll highlight here, and then in the next slide, kind of just sort of like try and dumb it down a little bit even more. But the way it works is that these users who are, these smart wallets, they're going to send these things called user operations, which are basically information on what someone wants to do on chain, right? And it is picked up by this object called a bundler, right? And this bundler is looking in what is called a mempool, and it's looking at these user operations, and it's kind of like picking them up, and it's verifying them, right? Like, oh, this user wants to transfer, this user wants to do something else. And it's verifying these things. Oh, this user wanted to do it, but this signature looks off. We'll toss it back in there, right? You can even think of like a literal pool and a pool boy is like scooping out whatever is in the pool, and he sees something funky. He's like, nah, let's throw that back in there, right? And then the entry point, which is a separate contract, this is going to be what is going to execute and turn into these like classical transactions that we know of, right? And actually put it on chain and execute it and change the state of things. Now, before we even get into the Paymaster stuff, this is how it's done. This is like the account abstraction piece, right? Before and to have this be done, it's usually the owner of the smart account, the smart contract wallet, who's going to pay for this, right? But again, our users, when we create these applications, they may not have ETH, they don't have anything in their wallet, right? And so what this sort of architecture allows you to do is add a Paymaster, so it's like a sponsor, right? Or someone who can pay for an action, an on-chain transaction on the behalf of someone else. And that is what the Paymaster is. It's an optional smart contract account that can sponsor gas fees for smart wallets. And it allows users to pay with ERC20 tokens. So let's say you send someone $5, USDC, they don't have to then go figure out how to get ETH in order to use that, spend it, send it somewhere else. They can actually use that to pay for the gas. So again, these concepts, one, it all starts with a smart wallet. Account abstraction is for smart wallets. EOAs, which is the other type of account in Ethereum, it can do its own thing, doesn't need sponsorship. And what these smart wallets do is they create their user operation, their intents. These are just objects that contain information. It's like a nonce. Who am I sending it to? What contracts am I interacting with? That's kind of the data that's within a user operation. Then this bundler is like, hey, I'll take a couple of those. Let me package those up. Let me get you shipped off to the right person, which is the entry point, who's going to execute these bundles of transaction and pay for things on the behalf of the smart wallet. All right, but the entry point expects a reimbursement, okay? And so that can either be the EOA who owns the smart wallet, or it could be the Paymaster who is sponsoring that transaction. But someone has to reimburse the entry point contract. And again, all of this is happening for smart wallets. And from a UI perspective, this is how it looks when a user is interacting with an application that is allowing the sponsorship that has a Paymaster, right? You'll see this here, right here, sponsored by whoever. I will answer these in a second, but I got you. Cool. And so I kind of want to give you guys just straight to the point my recommendations when it comes to interacting with a Paymaster. First off, and this is like when you're building an on-chain app, right? A Gasless app. So one recommended stack is to use VM, Coinbase Smart Wallet, and WAGMI. The reason why is kind of like if you are driving a vintage car, there's very, very few mechanics that can help you with that car. But if you're driving a well-known car, a Toyota or a Honda, you can go to almost any mechanic and they can help you out. And if you're using these standardized libraries that are well-known, man, you can get help in the Base Discord, you can get help somewhere else at an ETH meetup, right? There's likely people who understand what you're building and they can help you. So I would recommend using these tried and true libraries. Quick start, never create an on-chain app, easy. npm create on-chain, you have an app, we're gonna talk about it, we're gonna show you live in a second. Just get started easily there, right? Another best practice, when interacting with the Paymaster, it is best practice to use an SDK, right? This is, again, it comes in with VM. You have like Pemlico. This is to create your wallets, to interact with wallets, to make these on-chain transactions, to send the user apps, right? These SDKs make it really easy. They're typed, and it's just like follow the documentation, it's well documented, and you can just go be on your way. If you need help, definitely share your code. If you share screenshots, it's like very hard to like, let me add one more person. it's really hard to kind of like reproduce the content or reproduce your code and trying to, you know, debug and things like that. So I would share a gist, like gist.github.com, easily paste your code in there, send it off. You can copy it and then test it out there. And then use the Coinbase Developer Platform. The reason why is because everything is there for you to build on Base. Got RPC endpoints, it's free to use. You have onchain kit, you have Paymaster, you have even, now we have a smart wallet API, so you can like create smart wallets with an API call. There's so many tools there. We're gonna talk about it and get into it in a second. Last takeaway, again, if you need anything, when it comes to building on chain with Base, it's all within the CDP platform. All you need to do is have a Coinbase account and you can sign up and then go ahead and use it. All right, so Asante, you just joined. Don't worry, didn't miss much. I can fill you in like 3 seconds. We just went over the Paymaster, what it does, the concepts within it, smart wallet, user operation, bundler, entry point, and a Paymaster. The Paymaster is the optional part. What happens is the user operation is created by a user, a smart wallet. And that bundler picks these user operations up out of a mempool and sends them to the entry point contract for verification and execution. Now, someone has to reimburse that entry point contract for the payment, and that is either going to be the owner of the smart wallet or the Paymaster, or yeah, Paymaster. And tried and true best practices, use libraries that are known, VM, Coinbase Smart Wallet, WAGME, use the Coinbase Developer Platform. It has everything you need, RPC endpoints, all that good stuff. All right, cool. Now, I'm going to just transition over a little bit to just the CDP platform and give you guys just the lay of the land. Right here. I'm just gonna move this around, and then we can do like Q&A right after. All right. I don't know why it's giving me issues. All right, let's go here. Cool. All right. Now the respondents were, there's a couple of you who had no idea what the CDP platform is, and some that are like, I think I know what it is, but I don't have an account. Cool. Well, here we are. So portal.cdp.coinbase.com is a developer platform. It's like AWS. It comes with a bunch of tools and things you'll need to build on chain, right? From wallets to other tools, payments, staking, etc. Way better than AWS. Yeah, thank you. So one of the first things you'll want to do. So now I want to kind of channel the mind of a noob developer who wants to build on chain, right? Hey, you know, what do I do first? Let me go create an account with the Coinbase Developer Platform. Even though I'm still trying to figure out what do I need to do, I come here, I sign up, and I have this new project. One of the first things I'll need is a node, which is how I interact with the blockchain, with Base. I can interact with Base mainnet or the testnet, which is Sepolia. I send my request to this RPC endpoint here. This is like my main thing of like my entry point, basically, no pun intended, of how I can query the chain, right? And you'll notice this little string here at the end. That right there is going to be your client API. So you can get that API here, right? And you'll notice something, right? Now, let's say I want to build an application. I want to use some front-end libraries out of the box. I want a swap component. I want a bridge component. Maybe I want a component that allows people to deposit USDC and it's automatically in a vault that allows them to earn interest. That's all available with Onchain Kit, right? And the only requirement to use Onchain Kit is this client API key. So with this client API key, I have access to a node, these front-end libraries that are on chain. And then obviously I can go over to Paymaster as well. And so now I have this Paymaster tool as well. Now within Paymaster, how do I get started? Easy, okay? The first thing you want to do obviously is navigate to your Paymaster tool. The next thing you want to do, right, and there's like a little get started section, right, is to allow list a contract. So you're going to go over your configuration, and then you want to make sure this is switched on to enable Paymaster. But what is contract allow listing? So it is how you kind of add policies and controls over your Paymaster, so you're not just sponsoring just any contract or anything like that, right, or any function within a contract. So more tangibly, more specifically, if your app mints an NFT and you want to provide this to be gasless, right? You type in the contract name, the address, and then the function you specifically want to sponsor for that user, okay? You may even want to sponsor the transfer function, right? You can add those in as well. And because you are the sponsor of these things, you want to be able to control, hey, what you spend money on, right? So it's like you're giving someone access to your wallet. We talked about user operations, right? And so you can set a limit on the dollar amount, the cost of that user operation per user, per smart wallet, or the number of user operations for each user. And then you can obviously add even like a little note. So you have an app sponsored by your app, just to kind of help people understand what's going on there. With that, you are pretty much ready to go, ready to start building. Admit one more person. Now, again, we've also talked about ERC20 Paymasters, being able to pay with multiple different ERC20 tokens. That's available. It's not yet self-serve, but you can sign up and get access to that as well. The last two parts that I'm not going to dive too deep in, but is your analytics section, where you can see how much gas you've sponsored, you see the number of user operations that you've sponsored, and the amount of unique wallets. It's just like a gauge into your application, and it just gives you a good amount of like sort of like metrics on your app, right? Cool. And then last but not least, you have your logs. You get to see your Paymaster logs, bundle logs, export these logs. If you're getting any errors, you can share a log, share the request, share the error code in our Discord, and we can help you guys out there. All right, our analyst good at gonna get superpowers via Spindle. Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I'm gonna ask the team. So Cream asked about Spindle, which is a ad platform that we acquired recently. That's actually a good one. But I know the Spindle analytics are going to be great. I don't know the overlap between them. Again, and then before I jump into, so that's kind of it for like the walkthrough of the platform. I do want to answer two of the questions that came in. That was one of them. Kareem also asked, can this be exploited by a malicious user that sends a large number of these free transactions, draining the sponsor wallet? So great question, because I'm glad we talked about this, right? Now, Kareem just asks, hey, can someone exploit my Paymaster, essentially, right? We're sponsoring these transactions. How do I stop someone from just spamming my Paymaster and just draining my wallet? That is going to be twofold. One is going to be, there's like a number of, there's a max number of user operations in the mempool per wallet. But even beyond that, you have your Paymaster policies, right? So one, you can restrict it on specific contracts, but not only that, you can say that for every user, a user has a maximum of $1 that we can sponsor, or a number of user operations. And you can actually limit this cycle on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. So it can be reset every month. You can give someone, 30 user operations, and maybe you have a social app that allows them to maybe like 30 photos every month or something like that. And each of those is like a user operation, right? And it allows them to just like kind of get started. Right, but you kind of like, you get the gist on there. Yeah, if you guys have any other questions, throw them in.
Yeah, but what if like the user creates many different accounts with different wallets? Like if the user is not actually like a single user, but like multiple different wallets.
Yeah, I mean,
like a Vercel kind of rate limiting kind of thing as well.
Yeah. So most of the rate limit is going to be at the, here you could, I'm pretty sure, set that up on maybe on the Vercel side on, the request to your front end. But when it comes to at least, the Paymaster side, I would start with either the amount per user, the dollar amount, or the number of user operations. And you can start slow if you think it. You can start low if you think it's going to be one of those popular applications with attracting these sort of like spam users. I'll also talk to my team and see if anyone else has like a difference of opinion on this as well. But that's kind of how I'd recommend kind of like dealing with that.
Gotcha. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. The last thing I want to kind of show you guys before we wrap up, and we'll even have more another section on questions, is just like how do I get started with building. So I'm gonna show my desktop here. Actually, I'll show this. Another pro tip: use an AI code editor. It's gonna allow for you to develop a lot faster. All right, cool. So what I have here is cursor open, and I want to just show you a few things. One is this is an empty folder, right? And so what I'm gonna do is create an on-chain app. So I'll type in npm create on-chain, boom, workshop. I'll give it a name. Let me actually make this a little bit bigger. Close this out for a second. Right, enter your Coinbase Developer Platform API key. So that was on the other side. I'm just gonna skip that for now. Yes, we want to use Coinbase Smart Wallet. Awesome. So I'll CD in there, install. And actually, I actually do need that API key. So let me grab that really quickly. And then, Sante, go ahead, man.
A quick cue on funding the Paymaster.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm seeing all of the prices are in USD.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they? Is it not funded by ETH? And the second one is, can the Paymaster be funded by ERC20s?
Yes, good question. Let me actually go back to just because I'm a visual person and I just assume other people would benefit from visuals as well. So first question, it is currently billed in US dollars. You're correct. I don't think we have plans to do it in like other currencies. However, like you said, there's going to be a cost at time. It's calculated in ETH. And at that time, there's also a calculation of US dollars, for the cost of it, of that transaction converted from ETH to US dollars. That was a really bad explanation. So when a transaction is paid for, there's a ETH amount used to pay for the gas, but then there's a US dollar representation of that. We use that to charge you, right? And part of how this is paid or funded is, one, you have credits, but also you would have to link a credit card, aka a payment method in your account. The other question is, there are, being able to pay for gas using ERC20 tokens. Yes, you're correct. One of the ways on doing that is just to reach out to us, and we can approve your account. You would share the contract address of the token that you would like to use. It has to be deployed on Base. And this is also in a similar manner where it's used in the ERC20 token, and there's like a fee conversion to ETH, and then we kind of settle it behind the scenes for you. If you have actually, now I'm thinking about it, I want to actually add some of these questions to our FAQ. So great question. Let me know if I answered it correctly. Was that helpful for you, Asante? All right,
yes, it was.
awesome.
Thanks.
Awesome. So just going back for a second to the application, and then I want to show you guys how you can get help and all this other stuff. And cool. So again, boom. This is the only thing I need to do in order to get my app working, is to just paste in that client API key. After that, I can run npm run dev. Then it starts in localhost. Ooh, actually, I think I have something already running. Port 300, 1 second. Yes. And then I can do that again. Awesome. Switch over that real quick. There you go. So boom. Cool. This is your template app. Share this app, sorry. This is your template app. So with npm create on chain, this is what you would get out of the box. Well, what do you get out of the box? Well, you get a connection, a wallet connect button that is ready to go. This is going to be your authentication. This allows people to log in. If I didn't have a wallet, right, I can, if I click this button, I'll see this pop up here. I can use a smart wallet, or I can use an EOA, right? Automatically, I'm out of the go. I'm ready to go, right? I'll share this tab again. What this enables is you have payments there, you have authentication there, everything is ready to go. You know, from here, you can just go ahead and deploy it to Vercel, and now you have this live app that you can just share out, right? So like within 15, 20 minutes, you can have an app, right? And you can have someone help you in the front end, you can have AI help you, and like just changing up and doing things like that. Now, I want to take it a step further and then talk to you about, you know, the other sort of components, which is actually onchain kit. So now you're going to start building out your application. You already have this repo ready to go. Now you're like, all right, well, now I want to add a few other components. I want to, you know, add a swap component because I have my own token, right? Well, now you just enter in a few lines of code, and now you have this swap component that your users can use. From there, you know, you can, now you want to sponsor transactions. Well, we have a repository of examples for Paymaster and Bundler, right? So I'll throw this in here as well. This is a repository of examples. So if you use Alchemy, we have an example. If you use Pimlico, we have an example. If you use Safe, VM, etc., we have examples for you ready to go. I did a presentation at ETH Denver on the Paymaster, and I did 2 examples. One was Gasless NFT minting, and then Gasless token sends, right? Look in here, it uses VM, it's ready to go. npm create on chain already has VM and things like that already built, you know, ready installed as dependencies. So you can easily copy and paste. And then also did like a Paymaster series on YouTube. So you can just watch a couple of videos and really get ramped up on Paymaster. And yeah, and then if you're unfamiliar with what VM is, here it is, right? Really detailed documentation on, you know, creating bundler clients, Paymaster clients, different types of smart accounts, Pimlico, simple accounts, right? How do you estimate the gas fees? How do you fill out the user operation, right? For it to be sent off. All of that's ready to go. And then last but not least, if you go to the Coinbase Developer documentation, CB, go share this tab. we have quick starts and other guides there for you if you run into issues. And then last but not least, obviously, head over to the Discord, join the Discord, put your questions in there. I'll be there to help you. And that's really it. Thanks for the questions. We don't have to wrap up right now, but if you do have questions, please let me know. If you do have to go, this is a great time. But yeah, man, thank you so much for attending. This has been great. Again, based on the responses from you guys, it looks like you guys just needed a little bit of help of like navigating this world of Paymasters and getting started, understanding the concepts and kind of moving forward. The human, what's up? Talk to me.
Yeah, fam. How are you doing today?
How you doing? You said Van?
Fam.
Okay, fam. Okay, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I had a question. I noticed earlier you were mentioning about like staking mechanisms added to like a allow list for a contract. Like I had deployed NFTs and I had created a ERC20 token that was native, and I wonder if that was how I could implement that. If you could at least show like a quick example.
Yeah, so I don't fully understand your question, but I want to piece together the ones I do know. You have an NFT?
I have a few existing collections that I launched on Base. They did really well, and I have trying to figure out how I can update the smart contract where I got to fix my metadata. I'm not too sure what to do there, but I do know I have to update it, and I wanted to add the staking mechanism while I do that.
Got you. So updating your contract aside, if you, and what would you like to do? You would like to sponsor the staking? Is that what you're asking, or
something like that? I'm not too sure. I'm still learning. I don't really know much about coding, but I've been able to figure a few things out.
Yeah, that's fine. What's your intent though? What would you want to do for your users, or what functionality would you like to add?
I want to develop some kind of on-chain app for I guess our collection or our community, because we have a pretty big community, and I really don't know too much about what I'm doing. It did better than I thought it was going to do, but I don't know what I'm doing. And so I don't know, like I know people can stake NFTs, and I don't know what that means, but I know you can earn your native token as a reward. And that's what I want to figure out, because I saw something about like sponsor, like the gas fees stuff.
Yeah.
You can have your, I guess if it's, is it specific to what ERC20 tokens can be used, or it's like just...
Okay, I got you. So here's what so it sounds like you're still figuring it out, but it sounds like you want to, one, be able to provide some sort of functionality for your users to allow them to stake the NFTs that they have to earn additional rewards, likely a token that you create. Do you have that token created already?
Yes, but I probably just want to do a different one because it did not do well. I used like a launch pad, and I don't know what I'd rather deploy the smart contract myself.
Cool. Yeah. So step one, do we have? Let me show you what's going on right here. All right, cool. So here's how I go about it real quick. So share this tab. I would deploy your token using Foundry. And you deploy it directly to Base. How do you deploy it to Base? You're going to go to your CDP platform. You're going to go here, and you're going to get this RPC endpoint. It's going to be the main thing you're going to need. It's going to be the main thing.
Oh, give me 1 second, because I'm writing everything down. So
no worries, man. And I also recorded this.
On-chain tools. And then you said RPC endpoint, and that was in the...
Yep. And then the node section.
Under node, okay.
Yep. So with this RPC endpoint, you'll be able to specifically communicate with Base mainnet or Base testnet, right? Reach out to us if you need testnet funds as well. We can help you out there. But follow the guide on how to deploy a token. You're going to write in Solidity, but Foundry is really cool at just like having everything in one project, and so you can test it there, you can write the code there and deploy it all from your development environment. Once you then have that token, now you have a token on Base, you're ready to go. Now I don't know how to do like the staking mechanisms and stuff like that in terms of like paying that out, but I would one, look that up, but also when you're allowing your users to stake, the one thing you'd want to do is maybe the deposit transaction. You can sponsor that transaction, and so you can use the Paymaster. And what you would do is, let me share my screen one more time. What you would do is you'd go back to on-chain tools, Paymaster, and you would go to configuration. And here is where you would add your staking contract. So I would put like staking contract, and there might be a function there that's like deposit NFT, right? And oops, sorry. So this is actually the function, and then the contract address is going to go there. This is yeah, I was gonna, but this is where you. So once you do that, you'll hit add, and then it'll be saved. From there, you can allow your user. That would allow your user. You will be able to sponsor the deposit flow for depositing the NFT. So that would be gasless for them. So they would already have it in their wallet. They can deposit it. They would see something like. Oh, I don't have it, but they would see like sponsored by the human, and then they would be able to deposit and then start earning that ERC20 token, depending on how that contract is set up.
With Paymaster, I can like auto deploy like airdrops with this stuff too, right? Like if I wanted to, for example, like the royalties that come in from secondary sales, if I wanted to automate that with or sponsor that with Paymaster, and have that, I guess, deposited to the users too. It's like an additional.
No, it's more so just a way for you to make a user's normal transaction, just to sponsor that. So airdrops are going to be a little bit different because you're the one airdropping it to your users. I'm wondering, let me think of some other ways on how you can reduce the cost for airdrops, but I'll have to like circle back with you on that one.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm still trying to learn and figure out exactly what everything is. I don't really know too much.
No worries.
So
no worries.
Some of it's confusing because I'm like, oh, wait, this connect with this or no? And I'm still trying to understand it.
Yeah, no worries. I think honestly, I'm gonna have to drop in a second, but what I would recommend you do is join the Discord, explain your project. You can also tag me, but we have like a full dev advocate team. There's also engineers there as well, that can help you with all these questions. Like, and you can just like, hey, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm trying to do XYZ with my NFT project. Would love some help.
I've been in Discord for some time, and I've been trying to get help with the on-chain registry. Something about the API endpoints, I guess I have to wait for access to be able to have it listed, because we hit number 1 on Base over a 24-hour period, and we hit number 4 in all on OpenSea. We hit number 4 in all categories, and all chains.
Okay. So if you tag me, I can kind of follow up with you on that in the Discord. Which one are you in? Are you in the CDP or the Base Discord?
I'm in both CDP and Base.
Okay.
I'm primarily in Base. I don't think my CDP Discord, I don't think I have too much activated there. I think you have to do stuff to get certain access or something. Okay.
Well, let me go. I'll look out for it. And then I'll follow up with you over there. How's that sound?
Okay. And in the Coinbase developer?
Whichever one, honestly. Like tag me and like I don't know, I'll find it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Have a good one.